Hello and welcome to a new river walk. We are in Witham in Essex, and this is the River Brain, which obviously flows through Braintree. But this stretch of it is supposed to be fishable, so we're just going to do a little reconnaissance walk and see what we can find. I've come on to the river here at River Walk, left the old bus there. Woof. Okay, that little bridge, as you can see, it's beautiful winter sun. This is 4th of January 2026. I had expected to be in Poland during the Floyd show, but it didn't occur for reasons that are too boring to go into here. Okay. So there have been reports of dace and chub out of this river. The water's clear. Water level's also low. And as ever, it's too overgrown to fly fish. Certainly this stretch, but I believe there are stretches of it that are not so overgrown. So we're going to follow it in an easterly direction because it ends up in open parkland, where I think like a nature reserve. And from the pictures that I've seen on Facebook and Google Maps, there are stretches of it with clear banks. I mean, that's fishable, but of course in the spring and summer these nettles will be eye high. But it's got a flow to it. It's reasonably clean. I have heard tell of the odd trout, little wild brownies coming out of here. Yeah, this is last year's nettles. For sure this stretch will not be quite so easy to get to. In the height of spring and summer. Regular viewers will know that this is my favourite kind of place to fish, these little rivers. They're too small for the angling clubs to bother with them. So they're generally free fishing. You don't have to worry about day tickets or anything. I mean, when it's like this, this is wadeable. Yeah, lovely. Okay. Yeah, look at that, that's eminently wadeable. Sadly, not fly castable because of the overhanging vegetation. But I'm beginning to think that maybe a small spinner on rivers like this might be the better solution. So I was in Germany doing 2 gigs in Germany, 1 in Switzerland last week. On New Year's Eve we were in Mannheim which is just south of Frankfurt in Germany. And every New Year's Eve, the Mannheim city puts on a firework display in the town centre, which is not unusual, I think you'll agree. What is unusual is that the residents of the city conduct their own impromptu display simultaneously. So you'll have the official fireworks going in official directions, otherwise known as up, but you'll also have mostly young men firing rockets horizontally. They hold them in their hands, light the fuse and make sure they let go at the right moment, and the rockets go down the street, ping-ponging off the buildings either side of the street and land wherever they land. There's one young man holding a box of, like a square cardboard box of Roman candle type fireworks, just holding it in front of him, pointing it across the street as they went off. Lethal, illegal, but obviously the police can't really do anything about it, so they don't bother trying. They're even letting off things that sounded like mortar bombs. We finished our gig, went out for a walk to find a bar. The hotel bar had closed, boo-hoo, and walked through what felt and sounded like a war zone. We found a bar and sat in amongst this utter chaos. But it added a certain amount of needed adrenaline after what was an average gig, if I'm honest. So I'm still restricted to that straitjacket of only play coming on for Comfortably Numb. I would far sooner be playing more, but in terms of the amount of gigs, I'm not sure if I've got any more with that lot, with the star thing. It's got very complicated, but I do have 3 gigs with Durga in, I think, Doha, Armenia, and I think Dubai in March. So all is not yet lost. Right, I'm looking across this road. I could set them up shortly. Oh yeah, there's a public footpath sign over there. Good. Take us on to the other side of the river. Yeah, it's not that small, the river. And it moves. Good. So, Happy New Year to all my viewers, subscribers. If you don't subscribe, you know the script. Please do so and click on the like. Give me a like. It helps possibly elevate my channel to the point where I can buy a coffee once a year. Oh, the wonders of modern media. Yeah, that's a nice little stretch. Further down here, you're definitely going to fly in it. Cast upstream to these reed beds, but of course the nettles are going to be savage. Come down here in full armour. Right, I'm going to consult the map, see what the likelihood is of being able to get further along this. Okay, so I walk along here, across the A12, I presume there's an underpass, and then we get into the nature reserve, which looks like more of an open space than this. Maybe we'll find a stretch of the river that is not so overgrown. Down towards it here. It reminds me a little bit of the Wandle in London, which runs through the city and has similar stretches with public footpathy, wooded banks. This is right. The way it is at the moment is too shallow to float with a stick, to fish with a stick. Start again. The way it is at the moment, it's too shallow to fish with a float. It's mostly too overgrown to fish with a fly, though with a pair of waders in this stretch, yeah, you get away with it. So we're definitely talking small spinner, definitely. And it's just a nice place to be for a walk on a winter's day. Or freelining a worm would work. So it's not going to get that deeper, probably about the same again, looking at the side of the banks. Gravel bottom, clear, reasonably fast flowing oxygenated water. Yeah, must be trout. Any local anglers watching this who have any comments and advice to offer, please do so in the comments below. I'll take all the help I can get. Hello, woofer. Okay, we're coming up to the A12 crossing, and I keep seeing these swims that are fly fishable if you've got waders on. So we'll be back, maybe when it's a bit warmer. It's 0 degrees here today. There was a deep frost overnight, with more scheduled for the rest of the week, possibly even snow. There we are, this little style. So there's some evidence of local council care going on here. Very strange construction. I wonder what this is. On and off ramps for vehicles, with the river running along the other side. Very weird. Anyway. So we rejoin the main flow of the river. It's the A12 you can hear behind us. Whetted Nature Reserve. Previously home for a landfill site, closed in 1976 when the tip was full and returned to Braintree District Council as an open space. I see no notices about fishing, prohibited or permitted. I'm going to assume the default, which is permitted. Hey. Okay, so the Blackwater so that's it. So this joins the Blackwater further up. Okay, we'll just continue on this path. A slower flow here. But look at these reed beds. They're not really reeds, are they? They're sort of from the aquatic plants. Good hiding place for fish. This looks a little deeper here. Not quite sure which bank to go down. Let's go down this bank. Maybe come back up the other side. If there's a crossing place. This is all very fishable, given that there'll be a battle with the nettles before you can get anywhere near it. The water looks reasonably clean. So I think the plan would be to park the car as close to this stretch as possible. It being a nature reserve, there will probably be some kind of car parking facility somewhere around, because the first stretch that we covered is going to be very challenging fishing once the nettles get up. The other bank looks like the nettles will not be quite such a challenge, possibly because it will be in, no, it's not really in shadow, is it? But you can see that they obviously don't cut them because last year's vegetation is still very much in evidence all along this bank. A lot of reeds on this bank, rushes and what have you, and I would imagine the best fishing is going to be had by sitting on the other bank. You could probably even just trot a float down this section, I would think. Great spotted woodpecker apparently lives here. Yeah. Okay, this is worth the visit. And we will be back with a rod or two. There is, according to the map, a kind of lagoon over there. If we can find a river crossing, we might investigate that. There's another river called the Whetted down near Chelmsford that has come to my attention. There's a Facebook group called Essex River Fishing. Afternoon. Woof. Got someone fishing over on that bank. I think it is. Well, that looks like a lagoon. How about the kingfisher? Yeah. There's no way across there. I might creep back and cross the bank, go up that side, see what those lads have to say. Okay, so this is the Blackwater. This is the confluence of the Brain and the Blackwater. And this, given the same nettles caveat, also looks fishable. Okay. I might wander back down and see if those lads fishing there have any information for us. Okay, so I just had a word with those two young lads. We are now on the Blackwater. There's the confluence of it just back up there. They've not had any joy this morning, and they say that if you get down here, there's what he described as a border beyond which is private land. And what does that border consist of? Is it that white post on the bank? Let's press on and see what we can find. That hardly seems like a particularly rigorous or enforceable border. Just a white post in the bank. Some kind of notice I would have thought would be a minimum requirement, but we shall see. Looks like somebody goes to the bother of keeping some of the swims clear here. And it's familiar Blackwater. The water's quite black, lots of reeds, not just in the margins but further out. Not the fastest of flows, but it's not static either. Rather oddly, I think it's a damselfly. Yes, in the water. Oh no, is that a damselfly in the water there? No. Okay. So this has been by no means a wasted trip. And I think doing a reconnaissance is helpful. It just means when you come down here loaded up with tackle, you know straight away where to go without having to scout it out. That sun is so low in the sky. Yeah, there's quite a lot of accessible points on it. There'll be a certain amount of nettle bashing to be done, but I've seen worse. And you soon learn not to approach these rivers wearing shorts in the summer. Full body armour is probably recommended. Ah, that looks like a barrier or border of some description. So this is probably the end of the fishable, the free fishing section. I mean, the fish don't know that, obviously, but depends how much of a barrier that barrier is. Oh, it's not really, it's just a reinforced bank with a notice on it, but I'm sure when we get closer will warn us off in no uncertain terms. We might be lucky, it might turn out to be the upper limits of the stretch of the Alden Mangling Society, but I doubt it somehow. Private property. This is fishable though, and I can glimpse a barbed wire fence through there, so that's probably the limit of the private bit. Let's just see where the path goes. So I missed the whole of the January and February chunk of the river fishing season last year because I was abroad on tour all of January and February. I was home for a fair amount of March, but as soon as the season opened I was off again. Sod's law. This year's looking different. There was talk of some gigs in February, but I'll believe it when I'm on the plane. The March trip to Doha and Dubai and Armenia is only a week long. And runs from the 15th to the 22nd. So there's not really a fence keeping us out of this, but the path doesn't appear to be heavily used. And it goes into one of these strange plantations that line the banks of most of the Blackwater between here and Coggeshall. Oh, okay, there's the barbed wire fence. Right, I'm going to have a look at the map, see what's what. So we're 1.5 miles north of the Wickham Hall stretch, the Alden Mangling Society stretch of the river. And there's buildings and stuff here, private property, private property, private property. Okay, back up the river, I guess. I don't know if I've got time to get down to the River Whetted. because I have to go and pick something up in Colchester. But this has been a very enjoyable and worthwhile trip. Please, anybody who's familiar with fishing this stretch and has any words of wisdom, please add them in the comments. We'd love to know. Thank you. And thank you for staying with us. If you have, much appreciated. A like and subscribe is also much appreciated.